Hey, YouTube, have you ever noticed that when it comes to the media, you don't tend to see dark-skinned black women and light-skinned mixed biracial black identified men paired together that much? Have you ever noticed that? You know, and I find that just a little odd, but really when you start doing the math, it kind of makes it makes sense, you know? Um, Usually when you see dark-skinned women in the media and they're paired with somebody as a couple, it's usually either brown skin, dark skin, black men, right? And that's usually a lot of times with like when it comes to like black productions, but some white productions too, you know. Um, so you'll see her paired with, her direct counterpart, which, you can't knock that, ain't nothing wrong with that. Um, or you'll see her paired in like an interracial relationship, usually a white male, so white men. And usually that's because she was like playing in a production, financed by white folk, financed and put together by white people. So she's like, they are putting her on, so you're like, hey, you're gonna be with us. You which is understandable, let's be real. Um, but it's something to think about though. Why don't you see the pairing of, you know, light skinned black biracial men with dark skinned monoracial women that much? You know, is this a coincidence or is this calculated? My guess is the latter. At this point, and seeing just clocking so much, within this colorist system, this system of colorism that we're, you know, living in and wallowing in, I think it's somewhat calculated, right? Particularly when it comes to the black productions, right? Because we're all supposed to be black, right? And the media, the black media has no problem, and even the white media to an extent has no problem showing brown skinned, dark skinned men with light skinned biracial women. It has become an agenda, really. You see that played out so many times in black media, especially again and again and again. But you notice you don't see that playing out the other way around with dark skinned women and the light skinned men, you know? And also, I forgot to mention, it's either, when it comes to pairing in the media, it's either for the brown skinned, dark skinned woman, either she's swirling with a white man, or she's paired with a brown skinned, dark skinned man, or she's alone. She ain't got nobody. I forgot to put that in. They'll push that narrative out there too, that the brown skinned, dark skinned woman can't get anybody. Yeah, that's why people reacted to that Lance Gross Christmas photo the way that they did, particularly the brown skinned, dark skinned black women. They reacted to it like really strongly because they felt a hit to them. They felt slighted. They felt triggered by it because they know that the media likes to put that out there, even in commercials sometimes when it's like couples, oh, we're looking for a new bed. And sometimes, they'll show all these couples sleeping in the bed, and then it gets to the black woman and she alone. Or when it's like kids and, the black woman's a single mom, when it's like a commercial dealing with like kids, like Pampers or toys or something like that. So I think that's part of the reason why the women reacted to the photo that the way that they did, because they felt like, you are perpetuating a stereotype. You are perpetuating poison in the community, saying that, send the message that, they're undesirable. Because honestly, if the situation was flipped around and the light skinned woman is, let's say that Christmas photo was like all brown skin and dark skin men and women couples, and there was one light skinned chick off to the side alone. I think they probably wouldn't have the light skinned biracial women probably wouldn't have reacted the way that the brown skinned women did when they were in the photo, featured in the photo like that. They probably wouldn't have reacted that way. And even if they did, it would have been some brown skinned, dark skinned men, especially, caping for them, being like, "Oh, you ain't got to be alone. Shoot, call, let me know. I'll be up there right there in a minute. Take a photo with you. Hey, you ain't got to be alone on Christmas Day, baby." Especially if she actually looks good. You know, even if she was kind of like not so good looking, they would still cape for her like that. But notice that they didn't cape for the brown skinned, dark skinned woman at all, especially like that. But yeah, I think that this is calculated because it's calculated because the I think the brown skin, dark skinned men want to be first choice to their counterpart, which is understandable, but it's just very hypocritical though, right? When you're not making them feel like you're their first choice. And as well, I think even on some level, there may be even like a weird animosity or even like a jealousy when it comes to seeing, brown skinned, dark skinned women, quote unquote winning with men that don't look like them, with men that they don't feel reflect them. Like they don't like to feel left out. They don't like to feel like they're second choice. They don't like to feel like they're on the back burner, even though they perpetuate that same thing to the brown skinned, dark skinned women. But they don't want to feel that way though. Yeah. But hey, I think the brown skinned, dark skinned women, they kinda like it that way though, I think. I think they you know I think they're pretty satisfied with the way that things are though. You know. So hey, if it works for you, hey, go for it. I'm happy for you. You know. But I'll say when it comes to the light skinned biracial men, I don't think they're ever really specifically paired with anybody. It's usually random or just they're not in the picture at all. You know, maybe like a Latina or something. Um, in real life, I can see them being paired with like, the biracial female or light skinned female. That happens on occasions, believe it or not. Non-black women on occasions. Um, I'll say like in real life, I do see the pairing of like light skinned men and dark skinned women. Um, and one other thing that I think kind of holds back that particular pairing is I think because we in the community, we, as you know, we make associations based on skin tone. We're associating femininity with light skin and masculinity with dark skin. So if you're a dark skinned woman, you may feel like you should get with someone who is dark as you or darker. Because if you get with someone lighter, that is, you know, it may she views it in her mind as that's feminine, you know. And the same thing with the light skinned biracial mixed dudes, right? They kind of feel like they need to get with someone who is their skin tone or lighter because they associate dark skin with masculinity, right? Especially with, dark skinned men being the face of black people in general, you know, and there not being enough, feminine, beautiful, dark and brown skinned women in the media to combat that stereotype, right? I think that could probably play an issue when it comes to like, oh, media portrayal, and just people in general. That does, I think, could play an issue, which sucks. It sucks. Um, Thankfully, I think that mentality is um, only like strongly prevalent in like the black community. Thankfully. But what does that say? You got to go outside of the community, your own community, to get some love, get somebody to show you some love. And I'll also say that, dark skin can be feminine, just as it can be masculine, it can be feminine, right? It is very dynamic and versatile, all right? And the same goes for light skin. It can be feminine and it can also be masculine. It's very versatile. And I think we have to do some, corrective media promotion on that too, because that's poison in this community. And that is poison. That mentality is poison. It's poisoning the community. And also, it ain't true, because there are plenty of brown skin, dark skin, feminine men. You can Google them or search for them on YouTube. Just on YouTube alone, And believe it or not, there are some masculine, light-skinned women who, just on their facial structure alone, they look masculine. Also, the way that they act. But that's considered the exception, not the rule, I guess. But I say all that just to give you something to think about. Before I go, though, I had one of my subscribers, or just someone, or even just someone who watches my videos, say like, they don't see that pairing, even in like adult films. They don't even see that pairing between a light-skinned black man and a dark-skinned black woman. And I personally say that, I say differ. I say different, because I think I have seen those parents in the films, but I think they may be dated, though. That's the thing. They may be from a certain time era, perhaps. But even in the present day, I think it still happens, but it just probably isn't. It doesn't happen as much. You don't see it as much, but I definitely have seen it. As far as like, the older, say like 90s type stuff, the 2000s, I think it may have dropped off some, but I think it's still there, But she could have a point with that, though, I'll say that you're definitely more likely to see the brown skin pairing than with the men and the women than the light skinned men, brown skinned women pairing. Um, But I think that's just partially due to like statistics. I think statistically speaking, there's not like a lot of light-skinned biracial mixed men, and I think that's part of the issue when it comes to our representation. Um, um, but then people can argue, well, the same can be said about the women, but they seem to be represented pretty well, and that's true. You know, But that's because they have like a system and an agenda behind them. They have that backing them. We don't. So it's different for us. But yeah, I still think that the numbers do factor in. It's not the only factor, but it does play a factor. The statistics and the amount of us that there actually is. But thanks for watching. Feel free to comment. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.